this part is just leading in. And so here we go. Hi, it's Grandpa Rick with another story. And I'm at the ocean near where I live with my friend Martin. And you may hear Martin's voice in the background. And Martin's doing a handheld, so this is kind of even rougher than usual. And thank you very much for watching. And what I want to talk about today is an aspect of suffering, and that is that so many people are ashamed that they're suffering. They're ashamed they don't have any money. They're ashamed they're sick. They're ashamed they're depressed. They're ashamed, that their life isn't working out. They're ashamed they're not having sex as much as they think they should. They're ashamed because their kids are having trouble in school or kind of don't like them and that kind of stuff. And that led to a whole pile of conversations about how wonderful it's going to be when people are not ashamed of their suffering. And some people are so ashamed of their suffering that they hate other people who suffer or even who are different. And anything like that kind of scares them and makes them feel bad. And so Martin and I were talking about a phenomena that I saw happen when I was a school principal and a teacher, and that is, and it happened to me too as a kid, because I was a weird kid. I looked depressed. My mouth hung open like this, and I drool, and I couldn't concentrate, and I didn't do well in school, and I was a pretty messed up kid. My parents didn't know what to do, and they didn't have enough money to take me to anybody who thought they did. And it was only through drinking alcohol, started when I was 9 years old, that I kind of found out ooh, I'm more than all those parts of me. So here I am as a kid, as so many kids are, looking different, and the other kids would beat me up. But I was kind of used to being beaten because that happened to me at home when my father would lose it and get too much pressure and stuff like that. And my mother was too scared to do anything about it. And so here I was, used to being beaten up, funnily enough, and there's stories I'll tell about that. But Martin and I started talking about why do kids beat up weird kids? And out came this idea. I don't know whether it was his or my idea, but it was maybe this is a genetic thing. Maybe this is an old thing where the weird one gets attacked so that the weird one doesn't get to breed. Or if the one who's feeling a lot of fear gets attacked because nobody could count on them and they were taking up too much food and things like that. And then that started me remembering all the stories that I had heard people talk about beating up kids who were in wheelchairs, or kids who were kind of just different, or kids with different colored skins, or kids who just did things the other kids didn't do. And they felt badly remembering, people that did this felt badly that when they remembered that they had done that and couldn't figure out why they had done it. And then Martin started talking about how he had beaten up kids too. I did too, by the way. That he had beaten up kids and had kind of even known this wasn't a good idea, but all the other kids were doing it, so he did it too, because he didn't want them. I don't know why, but I imagine part of it was he didn't want them beating him up.
For the record, I teased them. I didn't beat them up.
Oh, you teased them. Thanks, Martin. And so, so thank you very much for listening to this. I'm 80 years old, and I'm a grandfather, and I want to leave some of these stories to my granddaughters while I still can, because every day I have more things that I can't do. Taking a handful of pills every morning to stay alive. Thank you very much, Big Pharma. But it's a nuisance. So, and I encourage you to become more interdependent. I couldn't do this without Martin being here. And I asked Martin to come to the beach with me. And so we got to do this. So please start your own interdependence club, and please tell your stories on YouTube or on a podcast, and send me the link. and I will put it up on this little website that's being built, and I'll help you get your stories out there, because we really need one another. And I won't put up. Yeah, we need one another. We're more interdependent than we think. A friend of mine has a project called Everything is Important, and everything is important, and I hope you realize it. And so the other thing is, I will look at your stuff that you did, a podcast or YouTube, and or somebody will help me probably, because I'm getting so I can do less and less. And if your stuff doesn't hurt anybody or make anybody feel bad, then I will put it on the website. Hey, you want to check this out, because I want to help you do this. Okay, and thank you very, very much.
Rick, what is one thing people could do to be less afraid of their own or others' suffering or weakness?
Well, that's a big one. And the first one is look in the mirror every morning and say, I love you. And you're doing your best. And so when you start realizing that every day you don't start off to hurt people, you don't start off to suffer or anything like that. And then that will build, and then you can start developing compassion for yourself, that you did your best, and everybody else, including the people who hurt you, are doing their best. And then I would recommend going on and getting on a search engine and looking up a woman by the name of Pema Chodron and a practice called Tonglen. And Tonglen is the idea that you breathe in your suffering and you breathe it out as a mist. You're transforming it, okay? And it helps you not be afraid of suffering. That you can suffer, and some people, if you suffer, you're going to lose some friends because they have trouble suffering and they'll reject anybody who's suffering. But if you kind of see yourself as a healer, because your suffering can be a tool where you can help other people. Like if you've been beaten, or if you've been raped, or if you've killed somebody and are feeling badly about it, if somebody stole all your money, or your spouse was unfaithful to you, and your friends all abandoned you, any of those kinds of sufferings, then this is your challenge. And in a way, this is your friend. Your suffering is your friend. And so the idea is that if you do whatever you can so that you feel okay about your suffering, okay? And there's some things, like I was in a car accident and the woman that I hit died. And I felt terrible. And the police said, oh, it wasn't your fault, but that doesn't matter. And it's suffering for me. And so what that means is that, I am learning that I'm a teacher and I'm a healer. And if I can suffer those kinds of wounds and tell other people how I did it, then maybe that person can do it as well. And we got to help one another. So I hope I haven't talked too long or too crazily or anything, but I do hope this helps. And if you want me to talk, maybe I've got a story about something that you're curious about. So please, on the little website thing, leave a message, okay? And thank you very, very much. It's been an honor thinking about you watching this and thinking maybe this will help you, because I've had lots of friends who've helped me a lot. So thanks a lot.